Good morning and sliding into afternoon. Whoop whoop. And we have finally got fall weather. It's Wednesday, hump day, and got the weekend coming. Judy, Allan here, San Antonio, Texas. And we're going to keep it simple or step it up with making a gift bag today. So one of the bags that I have made, and we did it at our retreat, was made with cardstock, and it was decorated with designer series paper. Today, the bag we're making is created straight from a 12 by 12 designer series paper, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So let's go down that hands and let's get going. So this is the one that's made completely out of cardstock with a matching card that decorates and everything else, and the DSP is actually put on the outside of the cardstock. So I had a lovely family member that says, well, that doesn't look like the one you get at the store. Well, okay, so we can do that by creating one out of DSP. So here's the sample I did, and I was going to show you. We're going to use a different kind of paper and a little bit different size, but this is what the inside looks like. It is just a DSP paper, and it takes 2 sheets, all right? And what I'm going to show you is we're going to size it down, and today, the one I'm making today is going to be sized just a little bit differently. Hello, Jennifer. Hello. But you can see, you can sit there and fold these, and you can do your ribbon any way you want. I've actually done mine like this, so I have choices. And I've had a tag, which was from a die, that I just put on here with a snowflake. So let's do one with a different paper. It's on the same one, and here's some other boxes I've done with cardstock. So boxes can be made any size you want. It's sort of like I've talked about a little bit before with making even just the little gift boxes that you put a gift in, that it's all about math, right? So this is what we're going to talk about here now. I'm actually going to use this paper here because I think it'd be fun for the grandkids or anybody else that's fun. Here's the front of the paper. Here's the back of the paper. Well, this side is lighter, so we're actually going to put this, which looks a bit darker, on here. So I'm going to alter this differently than I did the one I showed you, because I want this little train coming right around the bag, the whole bag. So I'm going to have to change up what I normally would do. So normally I would take a 12 by 12 sheet of paper and I would cut just 1 inch off the top. And that's basically, when you looked at this bag, this is what that 1 inch did that I wrapped around. Alright, so this one, because I want the train, I want that train wrapped around. So all I'm going to do is this is, I try to find something that's easy to measure, so that I can be consistent when I do it right. So this is actually going to be 3.5 inches I'm going to take off. Normally I would take 1 inch, but because I want this design, I'm going to take off 3.5 inches. So I did trim off a little bit of the bottom, but that's okay. The main thing is I wanted the train car, all right? But you're going to have to do it on both pieces of paper. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to come and I'm going to trim off 3.5 inches. So that's why it's good to make a measurement that you can easily line up on your cutting and do it. Alright? So I have these 2 3.5 inch pieces. So now this leaves me with these pieces right here. Alright? I'm going to set them aside a minute because this is too tall. I just want the train. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to cut off. So I took the bottom part of what I just cut off. I'm going to find a measurement that's going to be good. Let's see here. So this has got, you can't see it real good, but there's like an imaginary line right here. So this is right at the top of it. So if I do this at 2 3/4, this can be perfect. Okay? I'm going to set that aside. So there we go. I got 2 3/4. So that's perfect for what I want to do. So I'm actually sort of, normally I would use up all my DSP paper. Oh, got it wrong way. I'm sorry, that was 1 3/4. I think I said 2 3/4. That's 1 3/4. I would normally not have any waste doing it the other way, but I wanted this because this is, I think, is really cute and fun. Alright, so I'm going to set this aside. I'm going to take these pieces I had right here. So this is going to be a shorter bag than what I showed you, because I'm not going to change my original measurements. My original measurements had me, I did my math, and my original measurements had me scoring at 3 inches, 10 inches, and 11 inches. So I'm going to stick with that. I could alter this, but I'm not, because I just want to, this bag is going to be shorter, alright? But it's still, I'm going to show you at the end how it's all going to look the same. So I'm going to score. And so the brown one is not your score one. It's this light color right here. Let me see if I can get this. Let me go up here a little bit higher for you. Okay, the brown one cuts the paper, which I do not want. So, all right, there you go. You can see. So I'm going to come and I'm going to do this at the 3-inch mark. So I've scored it. Then I'm going to come over and I'm going to move it to the 10-inch mark. So in this, you're going to have to pull out the extension here to be able to get that measurement. So I'm going to do it at the 10-inch mark. And then I'm going to do it at the 11-inch mark. Now I don't really have to do it at the 11-inch one, but I will. But I don't have to, and I'll show you why. Okay? Depends on how you're going to make your bag. Alright, so I'm going to set this aside. I'm going to do this very exact same thing on this other one. So I'm going to do a 3-inch. I almost grabbed the wrong thing. And I'm going to do a 10-inch. And in my other one, I actually just stopped at the 10-inch. But I'm going to go ahead and do the 11 just because that's what I wrote down and I had done my original one. So I've actually done various versions. Alright? So that's the nice thing about these. You can do them all in different versions. Alright, and then on the bottom, so that's important to look at. Where's your paper? Because this is directional. I want to score it at 3 inches on the bottom. So this is going to make this a short bag, okay? But it's okay. Because I'm going to stuff it with white stuff and I'm going to put gifts in it. And it's not going to matter. Alright? I just want to stick with it versus, like I said, going and doing whole new measurements. Alright? And it's all because I wanted this paper and I wanted to be able to do it as a banner. Alright, so now this is the actual side I'm going to be using. So all I'm going to do is flip these over now. So I'm actually through with this. I'm actually through scoring and all that kind of stuff. Alright, so I'm just going to hold my paper here and show you how the easiest way to do this. Because these have both been scored, and if you can't tell, fill. Alright? If you get a measuring thing out, you can ruler, you can do that too. I can actually see mine. It's barely visible. It's really hard to see on the camera, but you can really feel it. It's like this little bump there. Really on either side, it's really sort of hard to see. But you can feel it. I have to at least feel it and see it, or one or the other, right? Okay, so all I'm going to do is I'm going to take this strip here, and I am going to put it right across here at the top. And I'm not going to come terribly far down because my paper is shorter. Here's going to be the end of my bag. So like I said, I'm going to have a very short bag when I get through. Alright, that's different than my last one, but it's okay. It's what I wanted to do. So I'm going to take this and I'm just going to use some glue and put this down. And the reason why I have us putting these together is because it'll line up when you go and put your bag together, right? It just looks like you perfectly did this. So instead of it looking like you made it, it looks like it came out of a manufacturing place, right? When it didn't. Alright, so all I'm going to do is put this down. And I know I'm going to do a hole punch, right? And we know we're going to do a tag, so that's why I'm just sort of not really worried about it. So I'm just doing it. I'm really just sort of eyeballing it. I didn't do it, you know, measuring exactly. So, but I am going to over here. So it doesn't matter if I messed up or not, because all I'm going to do is match this paper up right here, because they're both the same size, both the same measurements. So when I go to put this on, I'm going to make sure my ends match, right? And then I can easily move my paper to make sure the other end matches. And I'm going to show you how to do that. You might think, do I dream of this stuff at night time? No, not really. I do enough of it in the daytime. I don't need to dream about it at nighttime. So, there you go. Unless I didn't figure something out, and I might. Alright, so all I'm going to do is you're going to make sure it's the right direction, right? So all I'm doing is lining it up. And it looks like one continuous paper. See right there? And I'm going to come across here, but all I have to do is move my paper, right? And see if it lines up. Alright, and it looks like it lines up pretty darn good, okay? So that's all I did is I just flipped my papers around just to make sure what I just added matches up. And it looks like it's going to be synced. Because that's important when you put your bag together, right? Okay, so I've already scored the lines, but I didn't score this, and that is okay. Alright, we're not going to set the small stuff. So, but I am going to come to my score lines. I'm going to fold them so that we know where my score lines are. So here's one score line. Alright. And then, let's see, there's another one right there. Now this is the one where you have an option, okay? And we'll get to that in a little bit. Alright, now I'm going to come down, and here I can fill my other score lines right here, and I'm going to fold it. Okay, I'm not worried about the bottom of the bag yet. Right now I'm just worried about the sides. Okay, so when you get through, this is basically what you have. So we got beautiful paper on the inside, beautiful paper on the outside of the trimming. And this is where I've got the score line here, and I have this right here. Alright, so let's get the other side done. So these are going to actually assemble. Going to do the very same thing. Alright, so I'm just going to take this, I've got a score line here, I can fill it. And I can feel this is the bottom of the bag because there's my score line there. Whether you can see it or not, it's there. Alright, and fill my other score line right here. So for whatever floats your boat, it makes it easy for you. That's what you want to do, okay? And let's see. Alright, here's the other score line I missed over here. I was going to say, I knew there's another score line. Okay, so when you go to do this now, you have two sides that you've got score lines on. One is going to be longer than the other. See how this one's longer than the other one? So all you're going to do is take the other piece that you had, and you're going to match it up. You can take the longer piece from the other piece, and we're going to go here, and we're going to do the same thing on this end. Now, the reason why I said about I had that extra score line is technically I could cut that off. I don't really need it. I need at least a ½ inch to an inch, because this is a bigger bag. I want at least an inch that I want here, but I had this extra paper and I just didn't want to throw it away. So I left it and scored it just for an option. Alright, so all I'm going to do now, I'm going to leave it because it's just like, you know what, I just don't know what I'm going to do with that, just a little bit of paper there. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to just go ahead and use it. Alright, because I really don't want a bunch of little bitty scraps all over the place, unless I wanted to create a scrap card, which I could, but not today. It's not really what I want to do today. Alright, so all I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this longer piece from the other side, and I'm just going to lay it right here on this score line. And that's all I'm doing, is I'm just lining it up right here on this score line. Now granted, I don't control that the paper is the same card, right? There's no way for me to go around that. I really have done some manipulation there. Okay, but there is one side together, right? So we just want to seal it right there really good. Alright, and then when I come to this next side, I'm going to just do the very same thing. Now see how this is like actually coming up? That's fine. It's on the inside. And if you wanted to add more glue, or you wanted to just give it a moment to do some more, that's fine. Okay? It doesn't matter to me. To me, that's all small stuff. Whatever it takes to make you happy. Right? Hello, Ashley. I'm doing fine this afternoon. I'm glad you could join in, you and Jennifer. Whoop, whoop. So we are making some gift bags straight from two 12 by 12 sheets of paper, coordinating, so we can have our own store-bought looking, more beautiful than store-bought, because it's got beautiful paper inside and out, and it's one of a kind, right? Nobody else can have that same box unless they can, if they can even get the DSP. So I'm just going to give this a firm, because I want that glue to really set in. Alright, so once I do that, look, here's just the shape of my box taking part. Okay, so I've got my box. Alright, so from here, okay, so this one here needs a little tweaking. So I'm just going to tug it a little bit because that glue is just not quite dry yet. So that's what you can do. You can just tug it and get it there a little bit more. Okay, but again, I'm not sweating it because that's going to be the bottom of the bag. Alright, so we've got the four squares of it. Thank you. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and we're going to cut these corners, because we're going to finish the bottom of the bag. Alright, so all you're doing is you're cutting the score lines here. So I'm going to cut from the bottom. Now this looks really big, and that's because I cut off the top part, right? I cut off more than an inch. I cut off 3.5 inches off the top. And I'm just going to come and I'm just going to do these right here. And we're going to do it in all four corners, because this is going to be the bottom of the bag. Now the thing is, let's see here. Let me find my score line. See, for me, I have to fill it, right? Okay, there we go. I think we almost got it there. Somebody asked me one time, what happens if you cut too much? It'll be okay. It'll be okay. I always, like I said, don't sweat the small. Those are all small things. Sort of like sewing. You know, if you sit there and make a mistake in sewing or something happens, it just becomes an opportunity for creativity. So I'm just cutting, like I said, the 4 corners here, because these are going to be flaps I'm going to fold in to form the bottom of the bag. And like I said, this is going to be a short bag. It's going to be wide, but it's okay. I got gifts to put in here. Making some coordinating gifts. So then you're just going to take, so it is easier. I have done it with or without. Some people find it easier if you just cut a little wedge at the bottom here. So we'll do that. I've done it both ways. It works both ways. It's just whatever floats your boat, okay? Whatever floats your boat and you feel makes it easier for you. Because that's what it's all about. If it's not easy, it's not simple, you're not going to make it. Unless you just have a bunch of time, right? Most people aren't going to make it unless it's easy. So just go ahead, if it, see if I can get that cut off for you. It may be. So see, I actually did flatten my bag out earlier, and we'll just do that again because it's not going to hurt a thing, right? Because in the end, I'm going to have 4 corners there. That's easier. May not be easier for you, but for me at the moment, it seems to be easier. All right, so I'm just going to do that on, and see, I can do the same thing down here and fold it flat. I just did a slight little wedge just to make the flaps go just a little bit easier, if that makes it easier for you. And you just have to do it on both sides, right? It just makes it easier if you do it on both sides. For me, the bag, it's not as nearly as important as when you're making little boxes, because when you make little boxes that you're going to put a gift in, to me that makes a big difference. Because the fact is you're trying to get it to line up, and you know, you're trying to make sure you get your box all put together, that it's not going to have you know, part of it sticking up, which you could just cut it off, right? That's all you had to do is just cut it off. But you know, some people like to do the wedges, so let's do the wedges. You might be one of those people. I really am indifferent, because for me, no matter what, I'll find a way to make it work. Okay. Alright, so I've got wedges on all my corners. I got my paper straightened back out, I think. Alright, so now we're just going to fold these in. So you're going to take the shorter ones first, is what I do. And I'm just looking for my score line, so I can fold it in a little bit better. And then I have one here. A score line here too. And then, so then all I do then is I look to see which, when I crease these, which one's going to give me the best look. So I try to goes from one end of the box to the other like that. Alright, so I just try to see which one I like best, because it doesn't really matter to me. I just like to see which one lays the best for me. So for me, this time around, it doesn't matter. They both look about the same. So all I'm going to do now is put my glue on here. Actually, these are just fun ways to create unique holiday bags that nobody else can have, right? Unless you've got this DSP paper and you copy what I do, you're not going to be able to make it, because you can't go to the store and get this paper. And I'm not sure how much of this paper is even really left anyway, if you wanted to do it. So, alright, so there we go. Here's the bottom of my bag. And then my flaps, all I gotta do is come in and tuck them down. Now if you want to glue them down, you can. If you want to reinforce the bottom of this bag, you could do that too. Alright? Totally up to you. If I was going to reinforce the bottom of this bag, I would just take some cardstock, and this is 3 by 3 at the bottom, so I would just do it 3 by 3, and if I needed to trim it a little, I would trim it a little. Okay, so here's my bag. So let me show you how it's shorter than the other bag. Here's the bag I made, and here's how this is shorter, because I wanted this right here, and that was the only way I could get it. So you can see this one here was originally 1 inch. Hi Bridget. And this one is right at 2 inches. But it caused me to do a shorter bag, because the 12 by 12 is the largest piece of paper that I have, right? So I just want to show you that and compare that for you so you can see this. So from here, this is actually, I die cut this out of a die. It's a tag die that we have, and I cut this out. So it's going to hang down here, and I have my white in here so I can do my to and from, and I'm going to stamp that actually on there. So this is just a snowflake I put here. So to finish this off, you can easily take the sides here and go down the middle, and I just sort of squished it just a little. And I'm going to do the same thing over here because it's going to go with that paper that I just did. And actually I might have to go back and put some more glue on that paper because this one didn't stick as much, but that's okay. Alright, I just want to get it about the halfway mark where I can do it like this. Alright, so this is what I'm going to do here. It's easier for me. I don't know about you. You can mark the spots, but for me, I am just going to sit up here and I'm looking to see where that paper is at. And I'm just going to take my hole punch and hole punch right through both of these. And I just did it right on the outside where that paper bent in the center. And because I'm right-handed and all, I'm going to turn that around, do the same thing on this side. The only thing I really sort of have to gauge is how far down I came. And I'm going to punch, I think, there we go. Alright, so now I've got my holes punched, and all I have to do is add ribbon for it. Now, I used 20 inches. Now, what I couldn't decide here, alright, I'll catch you later, Bridget. Okay, so I have choices. I can either use this, which I think I'm going to use, or I could use the white. The white would look pretty, but I thought the brown would look nice and different change. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure out 20 inches, and my piece of paper here has measurements of up to 16 inches. So I'm just going to do, I'm confident I did 20 inches last night. So when I did my other one, I was trying to decide how much ribbon, because some people like to add a handle and some people don't. Okay, so for me, all I do is measure one, and I take and use it to measure the other. Alright, I don't sweat the small stuff. That's small stuff. I'm not really worried about that. That's okay. So all we're going to do is feed this through both holes. And for me, I tied it together. You can do it any way you want to do it. For me though, I just sit there and took it like this here, made sure my thread was the same, and then I just did your simple square knot, left over right, and you take the right and wrap it around the left, and then you pull the two and you have a square knot. And it sort of looks like a nice little, almost like a little bow that you got there that you can make and even fray this out. I've even frayed it out before and made it look like a little bow. Okay, I could do that right now for you, but I could. All right, so now I can have a handle. I can do this way, or I can do it this way, or if it's too long, undo the knot and make it shorter. That's how you do it. I'm not going to sweat the small stuff, right? That is small stuff. You can alter it any way you want to because it's your bag. And I assure you that even if you had the same exact materials that I had and you went to make the very same exact thing, for some reason or another, there will be something about it that will be different. And so that's why it doesn't matter. We all create unique, when we create from our paper like this, we're going to have a unique bag. Nobody else is going to have a bag like it. So all I have left to do here is my tag. And I actually have choices here. I actually took from my paper pumpkin. I do have the twine here that I can use, and I might still use it. But I had some leftover twine from my paper pumpkin kit that I wanted to see how it looked. Right? Just want to see how it looked and see how I would like it. Because I can, right? No other reason. It's just I want to see and check and see. Now see, I think that would sort of be cute to go with the red and dangle down. Let's see what the green looks like. For me, it's always finding where does it begin. Alright, and here's the green. Okay, now see, for me, the green you really can't see too much. Let's go with this here. And I just used about, I want to say, 5 inches. And 5 inches is most probably even being very generous. Because all I'm going to do with this is I'm going to stick it through the hole here where I've made my tag. Like I said, I die cut this out of the die. It's actually called a, I think it's called a tag die. Don't know offhand, I didn't bring it with me. So, in order to get this, you can do it two ways. You can either tie it around the ribbon right here, or you can tie it through this hole right here. I did mine around the ribbon, the twine or whatever this is right here. Let's see what they officially call it. They officially call it twine. Okay, threaded twine with silver in the middle. All right, so see, I've just got this here, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the 2 threads and I'm going to form a knot. Is all I'm going to do. And all I'm going to do is take it, make it through the circle here with my finger, stick the 2 threads through there of this red and white striped thread, and then I'm just going to pull and make a knot. And that's it. That is the end of the tag. So here's my little bag, gift bag here, one of a kind, because you don't have one like it unless you go buy the paper. And you're going to have to be able to do exactly the same thing I did. I gave you the measurements. But look at the inside. There's our inside. Here's our outside. You can tuck those in. I've got a friend that doesn't like having handles on it. She just likes it like this. And she just likes to take and put her tissue in here and put the gifts underneath. So there you go. There is a cute, fun gift bag. So I hope you enjoyed that, because it's quick and simple and easy to make. If you looked at our time, it didn't really take us that much time, right? It's still to create something unique and different for each individual person, and you can wow it, upgrade it as much as you want. You put as much tinsel on it as you want. It doesn't matter, right? It's just cute and fun, and it's one of a kind. So I hope you enjoyed that. Be sure to follow us on Facebook. We're also on YouTube, Instagram, and Pinterest. So the video will be posted on YouTube, and you'll see a picture of it on Pinterest and Instagram. So with that, be blessed. Be sure to follow us and share with your friends, and have an awesome, amazing week. All right, Thanksgiving is next week, so hopefully you're planning to your holidays and getting ramped up, because it's all coming fast. Be blessed, and look forward to seeing you next week on Keep It Simple or Step It Up. Bye.